Howdy, good evening, hello, welcome. Yes, get to see my shiny, big, bald-headed face right in front of me, middle of the screen today. How are you all? Thank you very much for joining us. So, a little bit of change of tact. Normally, obviously, you know me as playing games, talking shit. Now I'm just going to not play games and talk shit. Big geek indeed. So yeah, thank you very much for joining me on this inaugural GeekByte's GeekCast. It was a little idea, I think, came from Ethlasov himself. Time to talk shit. Yeah. It was his idea. He did say that it would be quite a decent idea of me to do a podcast of some description. He did like listening to me. Don't know why. I think he needs to keep taking some drugs or something. But it did inspire a little idea. As you know, when we play the streams, play the games and everything, I do talk about other things, tech in the world, games, etc. Well, I thought, why not create our own little talk show podcast kind of thing? And this is what it is. This is GeekByte's GeekCast. It is the first one. I'm hoping it all goes smoothly. I've spent hours upon hours upon hours trying to set this up so that it's looks okay, sounds okay, has a bit of content, you know, that kind of thing. It really has been a bit of a not a struggle, but a challenge. I'll definitely give it a challenge anyway. And this is what we've hopefully come up with. So it is a new logo, it is a new background. Obviously, it's the you. How you doing, Balth? How are you, my friend? So yeah, hopefully you're going to enjoy it. Please do get involved. If you've got any comments, put them into the chat. Eventually, we do plan to have video guests on as well, where we're going to talk about various things that's happening during the week, etc, etc. So without further ado, I'm just going to move myself out of the way, because I'm going to press that one little button and I'm going to go magically over the way. And this week, these are our nice little topics. So I'm going to go through them, just basically what we're going to talk about. Then we'll go through into each individual subject. So as you can see, we've got Windows 11 leak. Yes, we did have a little smidgen of information about that. Obviously, things have developed fairly recently as to that, but the Windows 11 has leaked on the Tinternet. There's been an ISO flying around and people have installed it, but we'll talk about that in a minute. We're going to have a little look at the benchmarks from my 2080 Ti versus 3070 test, which were quite interesting to a degree. I know some of you have yeah, I know what you're saying there, Hark. I know what you're saying. Some of you have been asking whether the 3070 is better than the 2080 Ti, etc, etc. So we'll find out about that. Next up after that, we're going to have some Leakshield. You forgot to mention how awesome Everspace 2 is. I'm sure I'll get to that eventually, Will. Leakshield tech, yes, it's if you're into water cooling in any way, shape or form, then it's a bit of a game changer. Certainly something to look forward to. Then we're going to switch back towards gaming. Obviously, fairly recently we've had the Blood of Azog release for LOTRO, which is update 30. We're going to talk about some of the changes on there, and I'm sure plenty of you are already investigating that. New World. Some of you did see me play earlier this year, last year, with Keepy for a few times. Now there's been a new launch of Expeditions, which is in beta currently, which is going to be part of the almost like dungeon system, for want of a better word, within the game. We're also going to look at the Xbox, Bethesda and E3 coverage very briefly. We're going to skip through some of the highlights on there. One thing in particular did catch my eye. Yeah, there is a lot, to be honest with you, Balth. However, some of them I'm just going to briefly touch on. I'm going to skip through quite a few of them in that I haven't got too much to say about. It's just a little snippet here and there, but we'll see how we go, I'm sure. This could turn into an hour-long stream or a 3-hour-long stream. Let's see how we go. Next up, we've got Rocksmith Plus. Something I do want to touch on, because you guys know that in the past I have played a bit of Rocksmith. I do have a couple of guitars. I play them badly, but still, it's something that is intriguing for me. Breath of Wild 2. Yeah, I'm sure some of you peeps will have played that on the Nintendo, on the Switch. The original one, only Breath of the Wild one. I'm not a Nintendo guy. I never have been. However, I know this is obviously quite a big release that's coming. There was a release trailer, which we'll have a look at, etc. Then we have the Sea of Thieves, which is the Pirates of the Caribbean crossover, which has just launched yesterday. And it doesn't look bad, so it'll be one of the things to have a look at in the future. And then last but not least, we'll have a look at the the Battlefield 2042 reveal, which, you know, we've got to temper the hype. It does look rather good, but we've just got to temper the hype a little bit. But we'll discuss things which are coming with that. So, without further ado, shall we have a look into the information that we have regarding the Windows 11 leak? I don't have a video for you to play for that, so I can't play anything. So you're going to have to just deal with me talking about it. So I think it was earlier last week, the ISO for Windows 11 did leak across the internet, and it has been tested across various other YouTubers. I know Linus specifically did actually get it working. Now, the one caveat really with his testing was that you couldn't actually install onto an existing machine. The reason being is that it kept asking for a code, etc. You know, when you install, and it wouldn't allow it to do it. However, he did get around it with using a certain janky method of using virtual machines and using hardware from another machine. It was all very clever. I don't have the link, but if you do look up for Linus, he did actually get it working. Now, coincidentally, tomorrow we are looking at there's a special Windows event from Microsoft. For those of you who don't know, yes. It was something along those lines, Keeper, yeah. But the way he did it, he used virtual machines and everything. It was very, very clever how they got around it. But he did try it. He did manage to get it used and test it out a little bit. He was a little bit about certain parts of it. But it'll be interesting to see. Now, like I said, tomorrow there is going to be a reveal. I believe it's 4 p.m. UK time tomorrow. There's going to be a Windows event. Now, I don't think it takes a genius. That's the one. Cheers, Keeps. It's not going to take a genius to work out pretty much what it's going to be. Windows 10 with bevels. I think you're actually very much right there, Val. To me, it looks like a bit of a UI overhaul. Probably a few tweaks. With all things that come with Microsoft, and they did it with certain other, Vista was atrocious. Some people didn't like 7. I find 7 quite nice. 8 was much of a muchness, and then obviously onto 10 is fine. But we're pretty much, I think it's going to be the introduction of Windows 11. Now, people will be saying, oh no, but I've only just upgraded to Windows 10. Now, there's a couple of things, seemingly the word on the street, like I'm down with the kids or something, you know, like... They're pretty much saying that just like 8 and 8.1 is 7, there's going to be a free upgrade path from these existing operating systems. So if you're on Windows 10, it looks likely that there's going to be a free upgrade to Windows 11. So that'll be handy. The only issue I ever have with that method is that sometimes if you swapped hardware, etc., and it would say but you've changed your hardware, you need a new key, it can be a bit problematic. I know they always tied it to an account now, but again, it's still down to the hardware. You can't be then putting that account onto several different machines. So will it be interesting to see how that works? But the rumor is that it is going to be a free upgrade. It is going to be something that everybody will be able to take advantage of, as long as you're obviously on one of those. I think if you're still rocking XP, copying from random site 374, so Windows 11 will be taking place 8 a.m. Pacific time, Central time 10 a.m., 11 a.m. Eastern time, 4 p.m. BST. So it's going to be an hour long, but pretty much if it's not the announcement of Windows 11, I'll be very, very surprised. So we're pretty much going to be getting that that kind of information tomorrow. Now, for anybody that's on Windows 10, yeah, more or less every other Windows. Yeah, I mean, I didn't think 10 was too bad, if I'm honest. I thought 7 was good. 8, like 8.1 were a bit much of a much. My issue with Microsoft is sometimes they always try and reinvent the wheel. They always seem to innovate. They're always trying to update, and I don't think it always works. Oops. I don't think it's always a good thing, because change is good, but radical change isn't necessarily. Sometimes I do think that they kind of play with fire a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see what comes of it. Yes, I will probably upgrade, just purely because eventually you're going to have to. I know there's some people I do know who are still rocking XP, still rocking Windows 7. That's fine, but your problem is, like I say, eventually Windows 7 I think actually stops getting supported. Is it next year? I can't remember exactly. Yeah, 98 was good. It was. ME was bad. Oh, yeah, Millennium Edition. XP was good. Vista bad. 7 good. 8 bad. 10 bad. Yeah. See, that's the thing. It's a balancing thing. Let's get a decent streamlined, safe, very sleek operating system, and then the next hand they completely cock it up with a load of fluff. He's calling you out now, Balth. He's calling you out. But it'd be interesting. Let's have a look. We'll see that. It'd be something for next week's Geekcast, maybe the week after. I don't know how regular these are going to be, actually. It depends, because this is taking a hell of a lot of work for me to get just one episode done. So, and will be interesting to see. One thing I will mention about the support side of it is they have intimated, or they have actually released, that Windows 10 support is officially going to end in October 2025. Now, you might think that's 4 years away. It is 4 years plus. But that will be 10 years since the launch of Windows 10. So Windows 10 has been out 6 years already. So that's quite a significant amount of time. I think, to be honest with you, even if you look at something like the Steam server, the hardware server, probably most people are either on 7 or 10. Not many people upgraded to 8 and 8.1. Again, free upgrades for me was quite easy. So I've always kind of rocked the latest one. You've always just got to be very careful if you've got any kind of older hardware that doesn't have good driver support. Yeah, I thought it would be, to be honest with you, Bals. It has been, like I say, around for 6 years now. Like I say, some people are reticent to actually upgrade. They're thinking, I've got old hardware, and that's absolutely fine. That isn't a problem. I can imagine that sticking with that Windows 7 because of your old hardware, if it's a necessity, is absolutely paramount. Maybe the manufacturers might make it work. Who knows? Now, interestingly, I actually had a problem for years and years and years, and I never narrowed it down to what it was. And I've mentioned this before to some of you. I used to have a USB 3 box. Basically, had 10 ports on it. I think it was about 8 ports on it. And it would never really work properly. I'd had it on my previous computer, and I had it recently, and then a couple of years ago, I just got rid of it. I'd had enough, really had enough of the problem. It would always disconnect the not the drives, but the joysticks or whatever I had plugged into it, usually webcams, etc. And it would drive me crazy. And it wasn't until I actually went back to my old, where I bought it from. I got it from Amazon many years ago, and I actually checked the original listing. So it's probably going back 6 years or more, something like that. Probably actually more. And it actually was not compatible with Windows 10. Now, I had never known ever a USB hub not actually working with an operating system, because you think, how can you cock that up? But for whatever reason, this did not want to work with Windows 10. Windows 7, 8, 8.1, never a problem. But then all of a sudden, when I went to Windows 10, it just started cocking up, and I was like, what is it that's going wrong? I even thought it was the battery pack that it wasn't pulling, because it's not the battery pack, the power pack, because it was, extra with regards the power that it gives, so that all your devices never run out, or were drawing anything through much. Yeah, exactly. I mean, a lot of the legacy drivers from 7, 8 did work for 10 because there wasn't too much of a dramatic change. And obviously, you do that with Windows 11. I'm really tempting fate here. Unless they've changed everything under the hood, you're asking for trouble. So I'm hoping they don't do the same thing. Otherwise, there's going to be people tearing their hairs out. You know, I mean, I haven't got many. For Christ's sake, I don't want to pull any more out of my head. If things do not start working, I mean, not only graphics card drivers, your motherboard drivers. I've got Go XLR drivers. I've got Stream Deck drivers. You've got keyboard drivers. You've got joystick drivers. I've got Elgato 4K cam links. You know, anything like that. If that starts not working, it'd be like, oh my god. Yeah. 3060 drivers for. Do you mean 2060? Do you mean for Linux, not Linus? Christ. Linus will be over the moon if he has drivers working out of the box. I think you mean Linux anyway. That's fair enough. So yeah, that's my only concern, to be honest with you. But like I said, tomorrow we're hopefully going to find up some new information. 4 p.m. Oh, Linus on his Win 11U. Yeah. Oh yes, I see what you mean. Yeah. So like I say, it should do. I mean, he didn't have much plugged in, to be fair. I mean, he had the drivers obviously for the graphics card because he was connecting to another machine which was running that, and very convoluted. But it'd be interesting to see. I reckon probably September launch, maybe something like that. But we'll see. But yeah, Windows 11 is coming. It's due probably this year. And rumor and speculation is that we are going to be getting a free upgrade if you're possibly on 10. You may have to upgrade from 7 to 8 to 10 and then do 11. It's very rare that they'll let you go from 7 to 11 because it's such a major change. But who knows? We'll see. Fingers crossed on that one. Right, enough of talking about Windows. Let's move on, shall we? So our next port of call is going to be some benchmarks. Now, you might be thinking, that's a bit dull, guys. That's a bit dull. But to be fair, it's a comparison of my existing system, which is the 2080 Ti, versus the 3070 Master Edition from Gigabyte, which I managed to get from Overclockers UK. So people are very interested how good a system is. But I'll have a look at the benchmarks anyway. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move myself even further out of the way. There we go. So I'm even further out of the way. Don't worry about the video in the background. That's just the launch title for the 3080 series or 3000 series. So I'm literally going to bring up our first benchmark, and I'll just talk through them a little bit just to explain the ins and outs of it all. But there we go. That is the benchmarks for my 2080 versus the 3070. Now, my native resolution on my monitor is 2560 by 1440. I ran it with G-Sync off so that there was no frame buffering or anything happening. It literally was running as vanilla as possible. On the tests, on the benchmarks, I ran everything at maximum settings, and that is my system, obviously the i9 9900K with a 4.7 gigahertz boost. Now, you're going to look at that and go, oh, that's not great, because you think the new series, the 3070, is across the board between, it varies to be fair, maybe 2%, 3% in some games, up to maybe about 8%. Now, obviously, the top 5 on there, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Immortals Phoenix Rising, GTA 5, Borderlands 3, and Division 2. They're obviously the 5 games. Different engines, etc. I tried to do it across a different engine. I did run these benchmarks 3 times. They're all on the same driver, the same update on the game and everything. There is no difference, literally, because I have a Gigabyte card in my system, and obviously NVIDIA drivers. It was a case of swapping in and out, reboot, making sure everything was back to normal. There was one anomaly that I did come across, which did mean I had to do my 2080 Ti benchmarks again, but it came out exactly the same. There was no difference. So I hadn't unlocked maximum frame rate when I'd changed over. But the bottom 3, obviously, you can see the Unigine Heaven, the Eugene Valley, and the Superposition 4K. Now, that was obviously one of the synthetics that we ran at 4K. Now, the caveat I will put in there is that it isn't an equivalent like for like. Now, obviously a 2080 Ti of the previous system, or the previous series, which is what I run currently, it was against a 3070, not a 3080 Ti. I don't call it Ti. I have no idea why NVIDIA thought it was going to be good to call it Ti. Everybody calls it a Ti that I know. So pretty much that is one set of the gaming and some synthetic benchmarks. Now you'll see, yeah, roughly 3 to 5%, maybe a little bit more increase for the 2080 Ti over the 3070. Yeah, Magic's card that she currently has is a 980 Ti. That's my old card. So yeah, she's got it's another Gigabyte card, 980 Ti. So she's rocking that at the moment. We haven't put the new one in the system. I've still got it here, to be fair. It's the green screen green on the box. Ooh, look, it's got. So yeah, it's going to be an upgrade for her. What we're thinking of potentially do is transplant her system into this case. Now, I'll show you the other graph as well, which is going to come up there. That is the basically Time Spy and all those from that system, which is all DX12, 4K, etc., etc. They're all synthetic benchmarks. You can read into those. It's an abbreviation of titanium. Yeah. Nobody ever calls it though a titanium, do they? I mean, let's be fair. It's a TI. So yeah, we all go along with that. Nobody in tech world or any game that I've actually spoken to about this has ever said Ti. I've got a 980 Ti. A what? It's a TI. Let's be fair. So, but yeah, these are purely synthetic. You can read into them as much as you want. Now, the only one that is the anomaly here is the Firestrike Ultra DX11, because the 3070 actually beat the 2080 Ti. And like I say, I did each benchmark at least 3 times and then did the average. And for some reason, that one came out slightly higher. The other ones, yeah, pretty much the Ti, the 2080 Ti is slightly better. But again, the synthetic benchmarks, they aren't necessarily real world. Yeah, Family Guy TI. See, I want to say it's a TI joke now. TIE Fighter joke. But yeah, that is pretty much it. But like I say, there isn't an exact comparison. It was more a comparison of generation of card. I couldn't get a 3080 Ti, although last night I actually did have in my basket on one of the major websites, UK major websites, I actually had a 3080 Ti in my basket ready to check out. It was just shy of £1,600, and I thought, no, I'm not doing it. I can't do it. I grabbed it, and I thought, but then I went, no, I let it go. I just let it float off. Somebody else bought it because it was gone within minutes after that, because it was very, very late that it appeared. So I let it go. The prices, to be honest with you, are still mental across the board. The other thing about my card is mine's the Aorus 2080 Ti Extreme, so it's factory overclocked to as far as it'll go. I cannot overclock it anymore. I can maybe get 50 megahertz out of the RAM and maybe about 20 out of the core, and then otherwise it just starts crashing. It just doesn't like it. It's as balls to the wall as possible. Mine runs very, very hot. What I will also show you as well is, I'll just get rid of these. And then you can actually... Oh, really? You're going to do that, are you? You're going to do that to me now, aren't you? Let's do that. Don't know why it's actually done that. Let's just... Why are you gone so wonky? Let's just unlock you there. And let's just... I don't know why it squished that up. I really don't. There we go. There we go. That's better. Do you know, I've actually run through this several times just to make sure everything was perfect. Everything was perfect. And do you know what's the first time that's done that? Right, so these are actually images of the card. This is the close-up of the 3070. You can see my 2080 Ti in this system behind. It is a chunky card. It really is a chunky card. Very, very nice looking card. It's as thick and the same size really as the 20. There we are, the top and bottom of each other. They're very, very similar in size. You'll notice as well the pinpoints have actually moved as well. They're slightly over. But yeah, overall, size-wise, they're very, very similar. There's no real discernible difference. So there are 2.5 slot nearest damage just because of the size of the cooler. Now, there it is in my system. The good thing, and it is a very nice feature of it, it has an inbuilt LCD screen. You can see there, 45 degrees C. That wasn't under any load. Obviously, it's just sat there tickling along. Now, it does have a kind of an idle mode. It doesn't do anything, etc. It literally just, you know, the fans will spin down. What I will say is mine is certainly louder. My 2080 Ti is louder and hotter for virtually the same performance. Now, you might argue 5% is 5% difference, but the problem with it is it's running hotter and louder. That was just a problem with the 20 series. It's well known. They've done a bit on the thermals, certainly for the 3000 series, and the cooling. You can see it's very similar design, 3 fans, but slightly beefier fans on the 3070. But what was my overall thoughts of it? Yeah, great, absolutely great bit of kit. However, there's not enough of a performance. It's similar, but it's not an upgrade for me. So we have decided that Magic's going to get it, which is probably going to have to change for my case. So I'm going to need a new case. We're going to have to put it on the desk because really, Magic always runs. I've just realised my thumb is in that bottom corner. It's just covering my lens. She has her PC in a cupboard, so we're going to have to take it out of there just because the thermals, we don't want it throttling or anything, so we're going to have to put it on the desk. We need to get a new case for me because the case is fine. This is a Cooler Master 500 mesh with a few mods to the front, etc. But it is a very nice card. Performance wise, very, very nice. Like I say, it's just underneath the 2080 Ti Extreme, and that is extreme. If it was just a normal 2080 Ti, it would probably equal, if not better, a normal 2080 Ti. There's some people on eBay, because I've been checking on the prices, have just said it pretty much beats a 2080 Ti. It will in certain circumstances, guaranteed. I will agree with that. Whether it is an overall 2080 Ti beta, I will disagree with that, to be fair. I will disagree. So, yeah, it's a good card. Is it worth the upgrading for me? No, sadly. But we were looking for something for an upgrade, so Magic's going to get the upgrade. We're going to keep the 980 Ti as a spare because it's always handy to have a spare GPU just in case it goes kabang. But yeah, thermals acoustic wise, 3070 spot on. It was fairly silent. And you can see there, just at the bottom, there's a BIOS for an overclock and silent as well. So it can clock even higher. It's not something I've tested because I wanted to do it as stock. Maybe it would be it. Maybe down the line I might test that in the overclock. So we shall see. eBay prices, to be honest with you, are coming down a little bit. Like I said, I've been keeping an eye on the prices over the past week or so since I've got the 3070, and even the second-hand prices, well, second-hand, but scalper prices are starting to drop. And I've noticed a bit more better availability of like the 3060, 3070 cards at retailers, whereas it was just obliterated in seconds. So maybe it's starting to equalize a little bit. Hopefully it'll be something that going forward will be a better all-round. I still think they're overpriced. I don't think this is... And I paid 750 English pounds for this card. They were selling them for 5,000 on overclockers, and the reason being is it's an anti-scalper price. They were selling them for 5,000, but you had to be a member of overclockers forums for X amount of years and a certain amount of posts, and you got access to what's called the members market, where there's a code, and then you could use the code to reduce the price by £4,250. So that's what I did. That's what I grabbed. Yep, great. It's an upgrade for Magic, and because eventually she's going to get my screen, you see, because I'm getting a 4K monitor. 4K, I don't think it'd do any better because there's less VRAM on the 3070 as well. There's 11 on my 2080 Ti. There's only 8 on the 3070. So yeah, sadly, not an upgrade for me, but certainly an upgrade for Magic. But hey ho, never mind. But there you go. If anybody does ever want to see some of these again, I can post them up in the tech channel. I've just kept them off the tech channel on the Discord for purposes, so that nobody saw the actual results. But there we go, 3070. Not an upgrade, but still not a bad thing. Let's flickety back again. There we go. So next up we have, he says, oh, hang on, that one. We want the Leakshield tech. Now, you might be asking, what the f are you on about, Gaz? Well, it was something I'd never even seen. Happy wife, happy life. Yes, indeed. She's very happy today. Can I just say, actually, Magic went for a job interview this morning for a new teacher job in the village, actually just next door to our village. And she actually got the job. She actually got the, do you know what? She can have a round of applause for that. Let me find it. She actually got the job. She did. Doesn't mean I can retire yet, but she got the job. So, yes, she's going to be leaving her current school, but in September she's going to be going to a new school. So, yeah, there she goes. She's it's going to be easier as well. And the other thing is, as well, just completely off tangent, is that the school that she's going to work at is actually a joint school with the village school that we live in. Well, we don't live in this school, but you know what I mean. Let's be rid of that rat trap you're currently in. You know about, yeah, the one that you're teaching. Yeah. Right, so anyway, Leakshield tech. If I'm going to show you a video about it. If you're interested in technology when it comes to water cooling, this is a bit of a game changer. But yeah, we'll have a look. Oh, wrong one. That one. Let's press the right button. So check it out, and we'll be back in about. Wow. That is cool. Now, you might be thinking, well, it doesn't look too special. Now, I've never water cooled a system in my life. I use AIOs, all-in-ones, but that loop filling, as you guys have just spoken about, is actually very, very easy. The way that they have it now. Normally, Linus is terrible at it, but filling a system is very, very difficult, and then getting the air out is problematic. Now, it's made by a company called Aqua Computer from Germany. The technology has been there, but it's quite fascinating how they actually do it, because they use it by negative pressure. So pretty much, instead of things being kind of Metal Brew's like, nope. Pretty much the best example is just what's on the screen now. Obviously they unscrew the block. Literally, that block is the cover over the top of a CPU. Now, it's been held on by the Leakshield system, and the way it works is pretty much it's kind of sucking via negative pressure instead of allowing it to be pushed to allow things to come away. I mean, even they've cut the O-ring there on that one. You can just see it behind me down there. Yeah, down there. And it literally is sucking all the time. So as soon as they know there's any kind of pressure change, it obviously will not allow the leak to happen. Obviously, it's pretty demonstrative when they turn it on and turn it off. 1 minute water's flying everywhere. This doesn't do that. It really is such clever tech. It really is. Now, they've obviously brought it to market. It can be built as a system. It can be added in, as in they did. They literally took the top off an existing reservoir, screwed that in place. Now, it looks great. It is expensive. All new tech, as we know, it's always new, brand shiny things, expensive. Now, just for the base version, which is usually just that top things that is screwing off right now on the screen there and replacing it, a couple of USB connectors and sensors, etc. That in itself is 120 euros. Okay, that is it. I mean, if you go to the website, if you look at Aqua Computer from Germany, you'll find the information. But as it's showing just the fill loop system behind me now on the screen, that is a godsend, because it draws the fluid in rather than you having to pour it in or pump it in. The system isn't even on. It literally is using power that's separate to basically draw it through. Now, it's going through the aeration process. Basically, that is always another problem. You've got to run your system for hours to get the air out. That automatically does it. That's the one. Well done, Keeps. Exactly. The only water that's supposed to suck. And it does an excellent job. Again, it is very, very new tech. It's very expensive, but I think it's a phenomenal piece of kit. When I saw it, I thought, wow, that could be an absolute game changer. If other companies such as Corsair and all that get on board with that, and I mean, obviously Corsair, obviously we know they've got the fingers in all the pies when it comes to things with tech now. That is going to be a hell of a game changer, because if they can integrate it into their own water cooling system that they sell, for those that don't realize, Corsair do actually do water cooling as well now. Kits, that will be phenomenal, especially at a certain consumer level. Now, as with all things, apart from the price, there's other caveats. Apart from it being expensive, 120 euros just for the base screw on top, etc. The software that runs with it comes with updates, as most things do. Now, don't ask me why, and they may change it down the line. Currently, the planning with the company is that you will get 18 months. You only get 18 months of updates with the software. Now, to me, that should be free software. There shouldn't be a limitation on any updates. If you bought a system, literally they're saying 18 months down the line, you're screwed, because you're going to get that. You're not going to get any improvements unless you buy something new. Now, I don't think that's fair. I know eventually graphics cards drop drivers, etc. I know AMD have literally just done that this week. They've dropped, I think, at least 6-year-old cards from their new drivers. They're not supporting them anymore. They're still going to work with the drivers, obviously, but they're not going to be integrated in anything new. So 18 months of software updates is a little bit, to my mind, I'm a bit worried about that. But then, just to top it off and make it even worse, there's certain critical features that are available within the software, such as auto shutdown. Now, I'm going to, say that is quite an essential feature. So if the system detects that you have a leak, and this we're talking about the Leakshield tech, if it detects that pressure has changed and you've got a leak, you have to buy the feature to auto shutdown. You have to buy it. It's paywalled. So you have to buy it through the software and it has to be unlocked. Now, should that not be automatically included as an essential feature? And this is some of even people who've got the review versions of it. I can't remember the site. I actually looked at for reference, but there was a couple that are linked via their website, which Keepy put up there. They actually tested it and they said, really it's behind a paywall. You're expecting a critical and almost essential feature to be put behind a paywall. I know this is happening in the automotive market, but to me, leaking fluid, and it can be disastrous. We've heard the horror stories about, GPUs, motherboards, CPUs, you name it, getting absolutely fried because of water leaking. To me, it's an equivalent of, say, Tesla turning around and say, unless you buy this update, your brakes aren't going to work. Because it's an essential thing. I do honestly believe that an auto shutdown when there's a pressure drop should be, included for free. Now, as long as their system carries on working, when I say auto shutdown, I'm on about it shuts the PC down, but it still keeps the power running through the Leakshield tech. That would be perfect. But I think it's something like that should be included. Now, again, whether they get the feedback from the vendors who are testing it, the websites, etc., and they say, yeah, great idea, but what the hell are you doing with regards to this? Don't paywall it, And this is why I think eventually that tech will get bought by somebody else. Somebody else will come along the line. Like I say, Corsair bought Elgato recently. They're buying into everything. So I can imagine that eventually that technology will be either bought out or copied. But I still think it's phenomenal. Just even from watching the videos to see things are just totally not even screwed down properly, and the technology with the negative pressure sucks them and keeps them tight next to each other, and that is quite phenomenal. So yeah, great stuff. Drop the paywall and put essential features in. It would make it more worth the money, because again, a base version is 120 euros. It to me is a little bit on the expensive side, but something good going forward. It is future tech. It really is future tech. So hopefully we'll see more about that, but if we do, we'll bring it back into the video. So next up, people know I play this quite often. LOTRO. Oh yes, a bit of LOTRO. Blood of Azog, update 30, recently released. Let's have a little video. There we go. So, Blood of Azog. Thank you very much, Shawless, guys. Thank you very much for that comment. I have played it. I've put my captain through most of the content apart from the raid. But pretty much Blood of Azog is update 30. Just as a background for those of you who don't know, what the storyline is basically after the escape of Golgar, son of Bolge, and the sealing of the gates of Mount Gundabad by Hrimmel Frostheart, Prince Durin faces his first true test as the leader of the Gabal Akar. As Durin weighs whether it will be vengeance or wisdom that guides his hand, Lord Glowin's thoughts turn to conflicts of old. All too familiar with the triumphs and sorrows of Durin's folk, Glowin hopes that a lesson in history might temper Prince Durin's desire to bring the War of the Three Peaks to an end, heedless of all cost. It is a good update. Not the biggest in the world, but it is a decent amount. There's a few issues with it, which we'll just talk about. The other thing that did come with it was a new raid. It's a 12-man, but it's very easy. You did see the Balrog at the end. Obviously, he's taken over Moria once he was released many, many years ago. And it is that. It's called the Fall of Khazad-dûm, and it's a Balrog fight, but it doesn't seem to take very long. I do believe there's a kin run planned for this Saturday, but I've got my next COVID jab, so I don't know if I'm going to feel well enough on that day. If I am, I will probably do it, but it's going to be interesting to see. There's been a lot of changes with LOTRO in this update. Most of them are aimed at the captain, because it's always been seen that the cappy has been a little bit too strong of late. I have mentioned before in my previous streams that it is, I think, a series of nerfs that's going to come. Cheers, Keeps, for the captain, simply because they do need them, but they're doing it progressively. I don't think they're going to completely nerf bat them into oblivion, but it is going to be something that I think we'll see again, a bit more class balance further down the line. I have two captains, both at level 130. Does it bother me? Not really. I always think there should be the support class, and I think we need to up the Guardians back to their proper tank position, which still needs a bit of work. The Guardians did get a DPS buff. It's not phenomenal, but it's a buff nonetheless. Again, I think it's the whole scales are out of balance, and they've done this with this update, and then they're going to probably try and swing it back the other way. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Also, in Renina's latest chat with Cord, there was an indicator that the Lawmaster change might be one of the next within a few months sort of time frame. Oh yeah. It's not what he's doing, so my hopes are high. Yeah, well, that's fingers crossed. I mean, at the end of the day, we've got to give it a chance. But people are the one thing that does annoy me with the captain skills that they did change was changing the raid wide buff, and it's on a 5-minute cooldown, and you just like in defensive Middle Earth, and it's like, really? And you have to renew it every 5 minutes, and it's a pain in the ass. Instead of it just being a switch that's on, you have to keep renewing it. And the amount of times you forget, especially in the new area, when you're running around the new area, it's mob central. There's too many mobs, and it really does affect performance. It was quite bad. It was quite frustrating at times because I died a couple of times due to the lag. So we've got to give them a chance and hope they can fix it, but the performance was rubbish. Now, one big thing that's changed to the raids, and it has been brought in, I'm presuming just to Fall of Khazad-dûm, it might be across the board, I'm not entirely sure with the other raids, is a thing called revive counters. Now, you might be thinking, what does that mean? Well, pretty much during the raid, you currently, across any tier, so from tier 1 up to tier 5, you can revive as often as you need. So there's no limit to your revive. So if your Lawmaster goes down, your Captain goes down, your Guardian, just revive and keep reviving, keep reviving. There's none of that. Now, they brought in some changes. At Tier 1, which is your basic level of any raid, there is no change whatsoever. There's none whatsoever. So it's Roll, Fall, Remote, and Threshold. Right, okay. Yeah. So yes, that remains the same. Now, moving on to Tier 2, which obviously is the next step up, you start off with 3 revives, and 3 revives only. But then you get an extra 1 every 60 seconds. So obviously your fight has to happen for 60 seconds. If somebody then if somebody dies after 2 minutes, they can get revived. If somebody else dies, they can get revived. But the counter starts from the first death. Then it has 60 seconds before a revive token becomes available. If you wipe, I believe the things are totally refreshed. And if you finish the fight overall, obviously all the tokens are refreshed as well. Now, tier 3, you're knocked down to 2. However, it then takes 2 minutes for your revive counter to come back. So you're getting 1 less and it's taking twice as long. Tier 4 is 1 revive, but then it's 3 minutes between each recurring actual token. And then tier 5, you've got 1 revive and then you've got to wait 4 minutes. So that is getting tougher. I can see that there's going to be a little bit of a problem, should we say, for some of the high level raiders, but maybe it's a switch. Maybe it is a switch to making the content not just a DPS race, but looking at putting a few more tactics in there. So you've got to be a bit more mindful instead of people just piling in and just thinking, right, we'll bat the shit out of it, we can revive you, bat the shit. Maybe they have to be a bit more thinking, positional, etc. Who knows? But I've not tested it. I don't know really above tier 1 on any of the raids. So who knows? If you've tried it, do let us know. If you do think it's a good change, if you think it's a crap change, who knows? We'll see what it's like. Again, they're going to be tweaking it. Even from the beta test of the new raid mechanics, the revive counters, it did change from that to launch, because even at tier 1 they only had the limited number of revives, but they decided to change it and say no, we're going to keep tier 1 as is. So that's the big change anyway. Other tweaks were in the patch notes, but keep a link to them there. But I do think in the next update, the big update anyway, we'll see a lot more changes as well, and probably the brawler, I would have thought, as well, coming that one. So we'll see. Hopefully it'll launch very soon. Right, next up, New World, Amazon. You might have heard of it. Got pulled last year. Releasing this year, August 31st. They've just brought out Expeditions, which are in beta test. They are, I can tell you that for now. But yeah, let's have a little look.
Welcome to Expeditions, 5-player dungeon crawls that will take you deep into the darkest and most perilous recesses of Eternum. In Expeditions, you'll face unique and challenging foes, solve elaborate riddles and puzzles, and discover rare and powerful items that will aid you in your journey through Eternum. Today we'll be taking a look at the Lazarus Instrumentality, an expansive subterranean ruin filled with ancient secrets, where something stirs deep in the dungeon's heart. As you coordinate your team to tackle the expedition, you'll want to remember a few key factors. Expeditions are meant to be some of the most challenging missions in New World. Make sure your team is properly outfitted with potions, tinctures, coatings, and ammunition. The wisest adventurers will also make sure to strategize team roles, with players designating healer, tank, and DPS responsibilities accordingly. With your preparations complete and your team assembled, it's time to descend into the Lazarus Instrumentality. Enemies in Expeditions will be plentiful. In this mission, you'll be facing a variety of ancient foes. Ancients wield powerful magical attacks and can switch from close range to ranged combat in an instant. As you progress further into the level, you'll come across puzzles that will test your wit as well as your fighting prowess. For example, this glyph puzzle will require your team to seal a network of doors by triggering a series of switches etched upon the dungeon floor. Each expedition is filled with unique lore that will help you achieve a deeper and more nuanced understanding about the history of Eternum, the secrets of the island, the true nature of Azog, and the truth behind what happened to the ancients. You'll also occasionally encounter unique NPCs in Expeditions. Here, Scylla has a task for our adventurers. While some of these characters have good intentions, there are also those who only wish to stifle your party's progress. And while no expedition is complete without a boss encounter, it turns out Scylla was only the gatekeeper for an even more dangerous and mighty foe. While we'd love to show you more, we think the best way to experience an expedition is to play it yourself. the Lazarus Instrumentality is but one of the many epic and challenging expeditions available on Eternum. We can't wait for you to discover them along with the countless other adventures available to you in New World. New World releases August 31st, 2021, with a closed beta beginning on July 20th. Make sure to follow us on Twitter for the latest updates and news about the game, and we can't wait to see you on Eternum later this summer.
Ooh. There we go. It did bring us back. There we go. Right. So, yeah, that's... hang on. There's my background. There it is. New World. Like I say, it's the Amazon Game Studios MMO. It didn't have the greatest beta last year. Me and Keepy and a few others did get to play it. If you got to play it, please let us know in chat as well. It wasn't without its problems. Performance wasn't great. We'll give that for a start. It wasn't the best in the world. But then again, there was a lot of players running around. Now, it is still in beta. It's in private beta anyway. There is, I think in July, going to be an open beta for people to test it, etc. But currently, they are testing these expeditions in the private test. Unfortunately, there's not any gameplay of those tests of the expeditions because it is under all NDA. So, whilst you can't specifically say that you're in it or show it, then you know it is in beta. Trust me, I did get an invite. I said it. But yeah, the leveling experience is still there. I'm sure there's going to be a bit of work. My opinion hasn't really changed much from when we played it before. It's still okay. However, I'm not too sure on the variety. So it's going to be interesting anyway. We'll see how it comes out. But beta testing of the expeditions is ongoing, as they've said. But I'm not 100%. But it is a buy to play. It'll be interesting. Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. And people can dive into the open beta when it comes. But yeah. Reserved on the any recommendations at the moment, but hopefully you guys will get to try it. So, moving on. This one's pretty much Xbox, Bethesda, and E3. Obviously, it was all a little bit different this year with similar to last year. There was no E3, there was no big convention, etc. But there was a few things that did stand out. And this is just a personal preference. So there'll be things that I won't touch on this section simply because either I didn't know it was been happening, or I didn't, I don't really care for it. But the ones that I did particularly like, and there's one that we'll get to in a bit. The next Forza, if you're into Forza, obviously driving game on the Xbox, they've announced the next one of those, which is Forza 5, which is coming out in November this year, 9th of November. I believe it's going to be on Game Pass as well. I'm not too sure if it's going to be straight away, but it was going to be on Game Pass. This time it's going to be set in Mexico, whereas Forza 4, Forza Horizon 4, was set in the UK, which, yeah, sorry, Tom. I've got one. But yeah, it's the UK Forza 4. It is very, very nice. It is a nice looking game. So I'm expecting Forza 5 to be almost identical, just set in Mexico. I don't think there's going to be much difference between them. But again, performance is probably going to be very similar to 4. Anybody, I don't know if anybody did, I'm sure some of you did, but did anybody play the Outer Worlds? I always found it a bit Fallout-ish. I never really played it, if I'm honest. I'm not even a Fallout fan. I've tried a couple, Fallout 76, and could never really get into them. It's unusual because I do sometimes like that type of game, but for me, I just never got into it. And I mean, unfortunately for me, it's I've got drinks inbound. I've got there we go. Sorry, I'm just moving liquid away from technology. Yeah, it's the Outer Worlds never really clicked with me, like I say, because it's too much like a Fallout kind of game, and I just found them a bit dull after a while. But that's been announced. There's no release date on that one, but certainly Outer Worlds 2 will definitely appeal to plenty. Yeah, she did actually. Ah, cool. So they made the decision. Now, you see, with that, Balth. Now, the reason I call him Balthelion is that that's his name for the DM. So Leo Stryker is Balthelion, who is the DM from, obviously, D&D, if you watched it last night. What I do similar to that is that in a lot of any kind of decision-making, I like to get the chat involved. So if I'm streaming it, I'll say, right, what do you want us to do? What should we do now? And the kind of... They make the decision, usually to the detriment of my enjoyment. So, to be honest with you, I've got the remains of a can of Pepsi. I've got slightly alcoholic vodka and Coke. And just so that I don't cough and splutter too much, I've got a whole glass of water. So, yeah. No. So, yeah, again, I like your style, Balz. It's Crowfall sent emails saying they're shipping as of January. Ah, yes, yeah. Crowfall is another MMO, by the way. It's by a lot of ex-World of Warcraft devs. I'm getting hydrated messages now. I'll have a vodka and Coke. There we go. Well hydrated, indeed. So... Yeah, Crowfall, another MMO. It's a bit more PvP based. I have got access to that. I've never really played it. It's one of those I tend to just back off a little bit from. There's not too many games that I do play in beta massively because I always think it spoils it. Although Everspace 2 is probably one of the exceptions to that rule. So, moving on, but where's the tea? Will's like, where's the tea? He's like that. Something anyway to do with the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S. And it's a game I've played a couple of times on stream. And that is Microsoft Flight Simulator. That is actually coming to Xbox Series X and S. Too many words there. On July the 27th this year. Now, the butler is retired for the evening. True. So it's going to be good. It's going to be interesting to see how it pushes the hardware on the Series X, especially because obviously we know the Series X. How you doing, Tim? The Series X is a very powerful machine. Now, how they crammed into the performance of basically a high-end PC into such a small cuboid as that is quite phenomenal. That is kicking out some frames. Now, I have heard, and I'd have to cross-reference it, but I believe the Xbox version of Flight Simulator is going to be locked at 30 frames per second. They cannot push any higher frames. But, I mean, I can't generally hold 60 frames with my system, so you can see why they locked it down, to be fair. WKD's, it's all kicking off now, isn't it? It's all kicking off. Fights going off everywhere. So that's coming anyway, July the 27th for the next gen of Xbox. So the Series X and the S. So if you're lucky enough to have one of those, that is where it's going to be launched. So it will be on Game Pass as well, I believe, which it already is anyway. The Xbox fridge. Now, the problem with the Xbox fridge, funnily enough, is it's only going to be as big as this. Now, this is Geek's book, by the way. This is where I do all my writing of things in there. So it's probably only about as big as that because you can only put about 8 cans in it. 8 cans of Pepsi. So you can imagine like stack, and then I think there's 4 at the top. So yeah, it looks great, but it's a mini fridge, to be fair. It does look nice though, but I wouldn't get one. I've had a little mini fridge before. and all they do is make a racket and sit on your desk, and then they don't get very cold. But yeah, very, very nice. Another thing that was mentioned at E3 was the Diablo 2 Resurrection version. Now, Diablo 2 has a hell of a following. An absolute hell of a following. Diablo 2 is one that I played the most. I actually played it more than 3. I've got Diablo 3 as well, but I found 2 pretty awesome back in the day. I mean, it is an older title now, but it's getting resurrected, and that's coming in September this year, September the 23rd as well. So that's going to be an interesting one. What did we get? Hang on, everything's flying through very quickly. I think I missed a comment. What do you think? Do you think that small form factor that he reviewed recently would be still better than the Xbox? Probably not. And the only reason I say that is that he had the small form factor and then he added in a GPU at the side. If you had the GPU, then fine, fair enough. But then you need the extra cards and etc. And it's a bit janky the way he did it. Very, very nicely done on Jay's part. However, for ease of use of having everything within a Series X or a Series S box, it's more convenient. So, but yeah, Diablo 3, absolutely, Timmy, it's not bad. I actually bought 2 versions. I bought one version for me, and then I bought the collector's edition for my friend Chris in Sweden, and I actually had to buy it for him because he couldn't get it in Sweden. I actually bought it for him here in the UK, which had the statue and everything, and I got it from Game, and then I shipped it over to him. I actually paid to ship it. It cost about 30 quid to ship over to him. So yeah, but he was adamant he wanted it. But yeah, anyway, the resurrected version Diablo 2 coming out September the 23rd. Another one that some of you will have heard of just because of the tie-in with George R.R. Martin, obviously of Game of Thrones fame, is a game called Elden Ring. Now, he wrote this many, many years ago, apparently. He said fairly recently that it's been quite a long time since he had anything to do with it, but this Elden Ring has been put off time and time again. I haven't bought anything from games since the infamous Master Sphere 3 pre-order. Do you know, I can't remember that, to be honest with you, Balth. But yeah, I mean, obviously, how long ago was Diablo 3 out? It must have been about 4 years ago or more, something like that now, if not more, 5 years ago. But yeah, Elden Ring, it's been, if you think of Dark Souls, Bloodborne, that kind of genre, that is what Elden Ring is going to be like. But it was written, a lot of it by George R.R. Martin, like I said, of Game of Thrones fame. He did, like I say, he came out fairly recently. He said, I wrote it all ages ago. I've got kind of out of my hands now. I'm not delaying it or anything like that. So they actually announced that it's going to be across the generation. So it's going to run on the PS4, the PS5, Xbox One X, etc., and the Series X, and also on PC. I believe it's coming on PC as well. And that's actually due out in January 2022. So next January, what we're talking, yeah, just over 6 months, 7 months actually, 21st of January for Elden Ring. So it's going to be interesting whether the storyline is any good. Be a bit of a shitter if it's not. Because a certain George R.R. Martin is going to look like he doesn't know what he's doing. Now, the next game I am going to talk about, I'm actually going to show you a video of, because it was one that, out of all the ones that kind of got announced at E3, it's the one that I'm kind of looking forward to the most. So let's have a little look, shall we?
They say, the wonder is, not that the field of stars is so vast, but that we have measured it. You're part of Constellation now. Part of our family. What you've found, it's the key to unlocking everything.
We reach your constellation.
This is all we've been working towards.
Jemison route looks good.
We've come to the beginning of humanity's final journey.
Prepare for departure. Graviton loop array full check. Your space lane is clear.
That's why we're here.
Main engines go. Ignition.
To discover what's out there.
Good luck, Constellation. You are go for launch.
Play it day one with Xbox Game Pass.
So, Starfield. To be honest with you, in my ignorance, I had no idea about this game at all. None whatsoever. But you guys know I like space games in some shape or form. So it'd be interesting. I know what you say about keeping with it. 25 years and then make it another Elder Scrolls Fallout engine game. Yeah, it is. Obviously, it's a creation engine. But it'd be interesting to see how it plays because there's very little kind of information about it at the moment. Again, it's going to be end of, and you saw the date on the console. It came up 11/11/22. So it's going to be quite a while yet. We've got like at least a year and 4 months, 5 months. So it's 16 months out, 15, 16 months. Balthi's like, hot take, Bethesda games have shit menu UIs for AAA titles, and I doubt this will change. Yeah, you might be right. You might be right. Who knows? We'll be interesting to see anyway. We'll see how that looks. A great UIs for consoles. Yeah, true. It does. So that's going to be an interesting one. It's the one that I was kind of piqued my interest most out of everything. I know there was a lot of other things. Hey, there we go. Thank you very much. I haven't got the on the GeekCast. I haven't got the overlay, but let me just find it. I can probably find. Cheers, man. Thank you very much for that. Mucho appreciate. 22 months. Blimey, Charlie. I know. But yeah, Starfield was the one that only kind of piqued my interest, but I know very little about it. Again, there was lots of other things that did get launched at E3 through Xbox and the Bethesda and everything, because obviously you got to remember Bethesda are now owned by Microsoft, so hence a lot of things for Xbox exclusives and stuff like that. But I didn't cover everything. There was no way, but they were the ones that I kind of picked out that would be of most interest to me. But obviously, I'm sure some of you guys will have been quite interested in as well. We're just going to move on briefly, and I'm only going to touch on this one a little bit, and this is Rocksmith, because this is if it behaves. Ooh, why is my background not working? Yeah, go on. No, you're still playing the same one. Why are you still playing the same one? Let me just sort that out a second. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. And there we go. Rocksmith Plus. You know I play guitar from time to time. I don't generally stream it because I'm a bit shit. And I like to play it more as a pleasure thing, really, to be honest with you. And that's the original Rocksmith 2014 remastered. I have lots of songs for it and everything. Now, they've just announced that there's going to be a new Rocksmith. We knew it was coming eventually. And it's going to be called Rocksmith Plus. Words. English, not easy, you know. And it's going to be coming, I think it's later this year. I can't remember if they've actually launched a date for it yet, but Rock Piss, yes. That'd be an interesting one. Rocksmith Plus. Now, More karaoke, indeed. It's guitar karaoke, let's be fair. You play along, you've got to have a specific lead. You can plug in your acoustics, you can plug in your electric guitars, you can use your microphone to sing along if you want, etc. It's entirely up to you. That's the original Rocksmith 2014, or Rocksmith, and then there's 2014 and then the remastered version. Now, like I said, they've brought out Rocksmith Plus. Now, I don't want to sound negative, but it's pissing me off because they're going to turn it into a subscription service. Yes. You're going to have to buy the game, but then you're going to have to subscribe to get access to the songs. So, whereas before on Steam, you pay for the access or you pay through Ubi Store, whatever, you'd pay £3, £4, whatever for a new track. You'd download it, it'd be there available on your thing. Now you have to pay a subscription, a monthly subscription. And I believe the current pricing is, I think, $15 a month. So it's probably going to be about £12.99, £13 a month. Now, if you're going to play that solely, I can appreciate, then yeah, great. But you don't know what content's going to be available that month. When you spend... exactly. Keep it. I'm exactly the same. I don't mind paying a bit of DLC. I used to buy all the songs that I get for Rocksmith on... the Steam sale anyway, because you've got to learn the songs that long anyway, and you have to keep, practicing. So, I've got, I think, about 100 or more Rocksmith songs anyway. To be honest with you, it's licensing. The licensing is there as well. Obviously, it's a monthly income as well. When somebody buys a song once, that's it. They don't need to do it again. Whereas I maybe bought 4 or 5 tracks every 4 or 5 months or something like that, so they're not getting much value. I did pay for the game, obviously, but it's turned into a subscription. Again, you don't know what you're going to get. Now, they have said that you can do a year subscription for $99, so basically $100 for the year, so for 12 months. That doesn't sound too bad, but yeah, Tom, I think it's more to do with the dollars. It's an income. They know what they're getting, and then they can limit how much or how many songs are released that month, what you have access to, because they're just paywalling a lot of things, and I don't like that. I really don't like the way things are changing in the whole here's a subscription. And I know a lot of services such as, I've got Game Pass. That's a subscription service. That's a Game Pass. I've got it because I have an Xbox Series X and I have a PC, so I can use it across both. I get EA Play, which is built into Xbox Game Pass, so I get certain games on Origin for free. I can upgrade to EA Pro for a month if I want to, that kind of thing. So you can see that there's a whole subscription service coming. I mean, the one I'm surprised at is that Blizzard, Activision, especially with Warzone, haven't done something along those lines. You can even going to say like Battlefield, that's going to get, essentially a service. So yeah, it's an interesting one, but like I say, I'm not going to dwell on it. It's put me off. I was really looking forward to the next Rocksmith, and then as soon as it said subscription service, and I thought, oh, fuck off. Excuse my French, but I did think that, and it's not something that sits well with me anyway. But I do like twiddling on the old guitar from time to time, but I'll probably stick with the older version just because I do it for fun. So who knows? Right, anyway, we're just going to quickly move on to Breath of the Wild 2. Now, some of you Nintendo fans, I'm sure some of you will have the Switch. You will have played Breath of the Wild 1. Wow. Goes right in my ass, does it? How you doing, Bub? Speaking of G-string, there's bum food. Right on cue. Shocking. I've never been a Nintendo fan. I've never owned a Nintendo console ever. Never. Not a DS. Not a 3DS. Nothing. Never had a Nintendo. But I know that it is a very, very good game for, what it is. Now, they have announced Breath of the Wild 2. You might like to see it. There you go. So that video actually means nothing to me. Having never played Zelda or any description, Breath of the Wild 2, completely unknown to me. I've played Tetris. I did actually play on a Game Boy many years ago with the plug-in cartridges. I have played it, but I didn't actually own the Game Boy. I just managed to play on it, you know, from time to time. Yeah, but like I said, I know nothing about the Breath of the Wild. The closest I think I've come to playing a game that's similar has been Immortals: Phoenix Rising, which it's going to don't change. Germany is eliminated. Wow. Oh yeah, I don't actually know what that is. We'll have to look at that in a bit. So yeah, I know it's going to be a big game. Absolutely phenomenal. Obviously, Breath of the Wild was a great game. Across the board for Nintendo Switch users, that to me will sell like hotcakes. Very expansive game. Obviously, the ability to dock the Switch, etc., was an amazing adaptation for the console. So it'll be interesting to see how it does. Again, probably not something I'll ever play, having never had a Switch, etc. But I can see the appeal. And I did like the Immortals: Phoenix Rising, which was from Ubisoft. Very good game, etc. But I know it seems like a lot of you guys did actually have Nintendos of some description. Has anybody actually played Breath of the Wild? The original, obviously. What did you think to it? Did it live up to the hype? Did it not? Was it any good? You played it on your Wii U. Okay. It was alright. I didn't like it much. Yeah, so yeah. It's yeah. See, this is it. I mean, straight away, that's 3 potential negatives. You know, but some people think it was phenomenal. As a comparative, I am obviously saying Immortals: Phoenix Rising, which, again, similar gameplay, set in obviously Greek mythology and everything, but I actually enjoyed the character voiceovers because they were very, very funny. Zeus was a right piss-taking git in that game. But yep, I'm sure it'll sell like hotcakes. It's quite phenomenal. Bit of kit is the Switch. Interestingly, if the Switch Plus or the Switch 2, whatever they want to call it, I won't say Witcher 3 was God's gift to gaming, but I did think it was a great game. I had played part of Witcher 1 and Witcher 2, and I thought Witcher 3 was just a step up, especially with all the mods as well now. So very, very good game and a very good narrative. But right, next up, let's just get rid of that one. I'm going to play you another video for a game that has been around for a few years. Obviously, you guys will know of Sea of Thieves, made by Rare here in the UK. Great game, great multiplayer game, but they've just done a Pirates of the Caribbean crossover, and it is quite nice. Take a look.
An ill wind blows from beyond the horizon. A new danger is coming on the tides. And the one who might stop this ruin, trapped for all forever in the sea of the damned. Now to save the pirate life, you must start by saving the life of one.
Oh, didn't realize we had company. Captain Jack Sparrow. But I suspect you already knew that.
Because of the treasure Jack stole, a darkness followed him here. And if it's not stopped, this world will sink into shadow.
This sea holds many secrets.
A new body at last.
All I can do is show you the way.
From what I hear of this so-called Sea of Thieves, it's nothing but cursed crews, bloodthirsty mermaids, a legion of dead, angry pirates. Ah, yes. And now, one Davy Jones. Hello! Well, I believe that now is the perfect time to use these cannons.
A world without the eternal abyss is a world that refuses to face the truth. Nothing lasts forever. Destroy them!
I don't suppose, by chance, there's a second one of those? The Sea of Thieves, eh? Bring me that horizon.
Play it with Xbox Game Pass.
Indeed. Sea of Thieves, the Pirates of the Caribbean crossover. I don't know if that is actually Johnny Depp that does the voiceover. Whoever it is, if it isn't him, he's a very good impersonator. Because the voice is very, very authentic. So I'm not entirely sure. If you've never played Sea of Thieves, as it said right at the end of the video, it is available on Game Pass. So if you do have Microsoft Game Pass in any way, shape or form, the Xbox for PC one, then you can get it for free. I bought it a long time ago. Balth comes into the present, gets an operating system that works for it. Yeah, indeed. It is a good game. It's very enjoyable in a group. So if you've got a few friends that play it, then it is a lot better than just playing on your own. I've had it for a number of years. I think I got it when it actually came out. I think I got it on a half-price deal, actually. So I did actually pay for it. And that is a free update. It did come out yesterday. There is a big update. It is a big update for it yesterday. So it'd be something if other people do have it, or if they have the Game Pass, we can get in and maybe try a few streams. It is good to sail around. I mean, even the water is glorious. If you think of Valheim but better looking, kind of travel on water, it's a very nice game. So if you don't already think about picking it up, it is a free update as well. It's a nice crossover, more challenges. The only thing I will always say about Sea of Thieves is that as a Valheim but release, it's definitely better looking than Valheim. I mean, Valheim had its own separate vision of how it should look, and they stuck to it with the voxels and procedural generation of this. Obviously, this is handcrafted. But what I will say about Sea of Thieves is I found it a little bit repetitive, especially when you got the same kind of quests to go do, like go find this pirate, kill this, get this, blah blah blah, go to this point. But in a group it is a much more fun, because you can man the bigger ships as well. So you have one steering, one doing the sails, one manning the cannons and everything. It's still a challenge, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. It's still a challenge when you're playing solo player in a little sloop. But definitely worth checking out. Like I say, it's a free update, so if you've got the Game Pass, do have a look at it, because I'm sure you will enjoy it. And if you can get people playing it, then we can have some fun with that. Right. Certainly last but not least, 2120. Oh shit, I knew I was going to call it 2142. It's 2042. It's definitely not 2042. No, I'm living the dream there. If you haven't seen the reveal trailer, have a look at it. So that was Battlefield 2042. That was a reveal trailer. As you saw right at the end as well, it did show that on the 13th of June there was a gameplay trailer. Now, I was thinking of showing that. However, my concern with it was that there was going to be a very scripted gameplay. And we didn't actually see much in the way of gameplay. It was all seemingly very scripted. You know, you saw characters running away, you know, a bit of action, but there was nothing that really you looked at and thought, okay, this is true gameplay. This is what's kind of going to be happening. So definitely the hype around 2042 is already building. But it's got to be tempered somewhat by thinking, okay, what have we seen? Well, we've seen a very nice trailer with good, you know, audio, etc., which is normal for DICE. DICE do this on a very, very good basis in every bit of or every game that they launch. But Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5 have always been a bit Marmite for a lot of people. I certainly didn't get into them as much as I'd hoped. This to me is more towards 2142 that I was hoping for. However, it is 100 years prior to that. Indeed, tempered thy expectation as thy should. Very, very true, Hark. So that was the reveal trailer. Lots of things in it that are very relevant. It's been broken down many times by a lot of the YouTubers, frame by frame, etc. Wingsuits, tornadoes, certain levolution things that happen across every map. There's the big thing with 2042 is going to be the increasing player size across the maps. So these maps are going to have to be absolute belters in size. We did play some BF4 the other day. A few of us, I think it was 5 of us, diving into some of that content the other night, and it's quite interesting. We're hoping it's very similar to that gameplay of BF4 as is 2042, but we don't know. To be honest with you, Hark, I wouldn't say, if you look at the possible specifications that they're touting, you're not necessarily going to need a high-end GPU. I think it's going to be very clever, the technology, how they play so many players, but I wouldn't expect to play it on ultra high on nearly any system, to be honest with you. Just with that many players, it will be thinking, yeah, Vega 64 maybe a little bit long in the tooth, but I think still you'll be able to play it to a decent degree. Tygo, the new 8x8 map for PUBG. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see on that one as well. PUBG is kind of still very in the competitive world, but it's almost gone a little bit under the radar. It seems a lot of other things have taken over when it comes to Battle Royale. Now, speaking of Battle Royale, there is one game mode that they have not announced yet for the 2042. But the DICE devs in every conference or interview, etc., have said that the unannounced game mode is not going to be a Battle Royale. We know that there was a Battle Royale Firestorm in Battlefield 5. Didn't do anything. It wasn't supported. They cut development of it quite early on, so it's never going to happen. They have said that there's one coming, and it's going to be on July, I think it's the 22nd. There's going to be an EA show that they're going to do, and they're going to reveal more gameplay and the new game mode there and then. So what it's going to be, we don't know. There is a few different game modes that are already going to be in it. We also know it's going to be running on seasons, so a bit like Warzone, which is obviously the Call of Duty Warzone. That's going to be running, I think they're doing 4 per year, so every 3 months there's going to be a season where, like Warzone, there's going to be certain things you unlock over that time. If you buy the Battle Pass, then you'll get those things quicker, or you get more perks, etc. Also, like I say, it's going to be a live service, so it's an ongoing thing. You're not going to be buying upgrades, DLC kind of thing, because obviously the season pass, the battle pass, whatever they could want to call it, is going to be in there instead. New operators, which are basically the new kind of classes, for want of a better phrase, they are what you're going to be there playing as. There's going to be one every new season. So again, similar to Warzone, new operators come on board as that season is released. Again, how it plays, I'm not entirely sure. We need to, like I say, just temper the excitement for it. It is going to be popular, there's no doubt about it, but let's hope we can get hands on. I also think I don't know if it's July or August, September time that they're going to be releasing the beta. Again, it's a demo. It's never going to change much from that point on. They always call it a beta, and the beta test is usually for checking final bugs and stuff like that. That never happens. We know it doesn't. It's at the end of the day, it's just going to be, here's a demo. You can play for a week. Let's build the hype. Boop, then we take it away. Now the game standard launch is due on the 22nd of October this year. So yeah, we're just over 4 months, or just under rather 4 months until the normal launch. Now it is launching a week earlier on EA Play Pro. Obviously that's this EA's subscription service. Now there's 3 different versions. There's the standard, there's the ultimate, and the gold version. I can't remember. So standard, gold, and ultimate version of the game. Now they are bloody expensive. They are. I think let me just bring up the price. I haven't actually got the price to hand. I'm just going to bring up EA Origin. Let's bring up EA Desktop. Because it does have the price on there. Now, obviously, this is through EA Direct. It is expensive. Unfortunately, I think it's too expensive. It's too expensive for most people. So let's just select the edition. Right, so the standard version on EA Play or on EA Desktop, on Origin, whichever version you use, is $49.99. That's English pounds, so 50 quid. The gold edition, which includes the year 1 pass, okay, so for the first year you get the pass pack of that, is $79.99. So they're charging 30 quid for a pass. The other thing is you get early access to that, which launches on October the 15th. So for 1 week, if you have the gold edition, you get in early, but you also get the year 1 pass pack. It doesn't tell you much about what you're going to get in there, but who knows. And then really, I think this is a bit of a piss take, because they're then charging for the Ultimate Edition, which is everything included, which is $99.99. Now, if you already have EA Play, which I do because, like I say, it's tied in with the Game Pass, you get 10% off. So you get 10% off their prices, but that still makes the Ultimate Edition 90 quid. Now with that, the Ultimate Edition, you get October the 15th launch, which is obviously early access. You get the year 1 pass pack. You get the Midnight Ultimate Bundle, which I think is just a skin pack anyway. And then you get the official digital art and exclusive digital soundtrack. Those last things, the official digital art and the official digital soundtrack, they're going to be available on the internet within weeks anyway, so that wouldn't bother me anyway. The Midnight Ultimate Bundle, I think, is just a skin pack anyway. The year 1 pass pack, I think it's just a load of double XP, and obviously the season pack, you'll get the operators and everything. But even if you went for the gold edition, which gives you the pack, the pre-order pack, and the early access and the year 1 pass, that's still 80 quid, which to my mind is too expensive. It really is too expensive. The first Battlefield 200 test started cooking in July, presented limited hands-on with the project centered around technical performance and stability. Yeah, I honestly think that some of the bigger YouTubers and EA influencers or Battlefield influencers, they'll probably have access to that or already been in there anyway. So yeah, it's like I say, it's 128 players. It's going to be a live service with seasons, and your operators are going to come. Basically, operators are your characters that you can play. They're going to come every season. And I think it's July 22nd is when EA Play is going to be. That's when they're going to reveal the new game mode and also pretty much the start of the beta test, probably from around that day anyway. I think that's what Kiwi just said. So, yeah. Again, temper the enthusiasm for it. The one thing I will say about the price, and it's something that I have, Ultimate is, 100 quid. Yeah. One thing I will say, and it is probably the cheaper way to enjoy the game. If you subscribe to EA Play Pro, okay, so that is their better version of EA Play, you will get access because you basically get the Ultimate Edition. And that is usually 15 quid a month. Okay, now you might think, oh, hang on, whoa, if you're going to play it for a year, that doesn't work out right. 12 times 15 works out more than 100 quid. However, if you want to try the game for a month on the Ultimate Edition for 15 quid, you're going to get a pretty much good idea of whether that game is for you. Then you've only outlaid 15 quid. Further down the line, if you come to the end of that, you might think, well, I don't really want to play another 15 quid. I'm enjoying the game. I want to get the standard version. Well, you've already had the early access, so that's gone anyway, so that doesn't matter. You've been in for the 15th. You've probably got the skins anyway tied to your account. You've probably already got the bonuses for the battle pass for that season from that anyway, so you might have used those up. You could then buy the standard version. Now, for me, and this is a personal preference, unless anything gets revealed further down the line about what is included, I doubt it will, to be honest with you, because it's not a bad price as it is. I can't see that they're going to bump it up anyway. The EA Play Pro is going to be my method. When it comes to around the, say, 14th of October, that is when I would get EA Play Pro, download the game for launch on the 15th. Give it a whirl. Is it my cup of tea? Am I enjoying it? Have I got a lot of friends that are playing it? Etc, etc. Is it buggy as hell? Is it crap? Boom. There you go. Yeah, exactly, Keeps. That's why I don't think it's worth it. So that's to my mind, having looked in it. But by all means, do make your own decision on that. That is going to be something that I think is going to be the better version, the better way to go. Definitely looking at 15 quid for the first month, EA Play Pro, even if it goes up to 16 quid, 17 quid. If you look on some of my links underneath, you'll see some of the gaming websites that you can get it from. It is going to be on Steam, but you're still going to use the Origin launcher. It's still going to be on Epic Game Store. You're still going to have to use the EA launcher. I can't remember where else it's going to be on as well. It's about 3 different places that it's going to be. The other thing as well is you will be able to get standard versions from other places. One of mine down there, CD Keys, I know they've already got it on pre-order on there for about 35 quid for the standard version. That will go up closer to launch, obviously. So whether you pre-order that way or not, I'm not entirely. It's entirely up to you. But my idea is to go with the EA Play Pro. So if you want to give me any feedback about this GeekCast, please do. Lob it in the forums, on the tech channel or anything like that. Anywhere you want to put it, in the Twitch channel, whatever you want to put it. These are one of the things that I'd like to do going forward, just to have a little discussion. It's different to LOTRO. It's different to playing games. It's taken a hell of a lot of work to set this up, just because of, well, I won't even go into it. It just took me hours of head scratching and getting things to work within XSplit how I wanted to. But yeah, if you do have any kind of feedback on it, anything that you come across in the tech world and think, ooh, have you seen this? Please do let me know. We'll put it into the GeekCast for the next one. And again, it's something that we might do going forward. I hope you have enjoyed it. And like I say, I've been doing, like, what, are we on nearly 2 hours now? Yeah, 2 hours. And my gob is starting to, well, my throat is starting to feel a bit sore after all this talking. It's in real stuff. So, hang on, just move that one away. I really enjoyed it, despite being half asleep at time. Not sleeping good to you either. It's yeah, no worries, kid. That's perfectly fine. Like I say, it's more of a talking head rather than visual. People can interact, and it's what I was aiming for anyway. I'm going to sign off now, but there is one thing that you're going to see before I go, but I'd just like to say thank you very much for everyone dropping in. Cheers to Furlong, Keepy, Hark, Bumf, Balth, Magic, Timmy, Trebs, how you doing, Trebs? DoiKid8555, 2020, Elder, how you doing, Tom, Feet, Nettlebrew, Road Girl, Sad Girl, Talrian, and everybody else that's been in tonight. Thank you very much. Oh, Mr. Convo, what was your outcome? Right, actually, I'll go back to that for you, Tim. That's not a problem. Let me just bring that up. So if you want to see it, let me just go to the presets. That's just some pickies, which I'm just going to get rid of. Right, there we go. That is the benches. I'm just going to put it up for you so you can see it. As my 2080 Ti Extreme version from Gigabyte versus the Oros Master. Now, you'll see it. The 2080 Ti beats it. Now, it's generational test rather than actual series test. If I tested a 3080 Ti against a 2080 Ti, I expect it would have flipped at least the other way around, if not more. But as a 3070 versus a 2080 Ti, they are comparative. So that is ideal. There's the other picture I'll show you as well, which is the synthetic bench test. Only one anomaly, which was the Firestrike Ultra, which was the DX11. But yeah, they're synthetics at the end of the day. Not too much to read into. But 3070 is a very good card. Good thermals. Temperature-wise, it kept in very good amounts. You can actually see it there. So a 3070 sucks then. Definitely not sucking. It's a nice card. It really is a nice card. Temperature wise, very good. Audio levels very, very good as well. Similar size. The advantage with the 3070, it's got the LCD screen, which you'll see in a second on one of the pictures. I knew a lot of people were interested in this, so I don't mind going back through it again. But like I say, comparison-wise over the 2080, which is on screen now, this is the 2080 Ti up here, and then down below is the 3070. Slight difference design, but they're both from Gigabyte. But there it is. It's in there with the LCD screen, keeping an eye on the temperature, and that was 45 degrees at idle. So, and it never really, I think the highest I got it was 70 degrees C, which is better than my 2080 Ti Extreme. That gets blisteringly hot. So, but Azog, she's going to get an upgrade. She's going to get a 3070. Slaps in her system, but we need to sort out a case swap and everything like that. So, but the other thing is, it's going to cost her when a decent generational card becomes available. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's not bad, but we know the current situation. It's we just need AMD to really start battering the door down a little bit more, because that will help us quite phenomenally on that. But right, I'm going to leave you anyway, but I'm going to play you out with one more video. But thank you very much for dropping in. As always, there's going to be more streams coming up. If you already do, hit that follow button. But we're going to play you out with one more video. Magic's looking at me saying, what's that? But yeah, thank you very much for joining us, and we shall see you in the next one. TTFN for now.
Welcome to the Zarkov system of Everspace 2. My name is Eric Schrader, the Community Ambassador for Rockfish Games. I'll be giving you a little tour and talk about a few upcoming elements for the game. You may catch a couple placeholders, but that's only because this is hot off the press. So let's get started. Zarkov itself exists as a massive celestial vortex orbiting around its star. And in that vortex lie a series of natural hazards like lightning and solar storms, as well as monumental cloud formations, rich with valuable resources. The vertical asteroids of Zarkov are a mysterious and dangerous place for passerbys and transports alike. A lot of failed deliveries and various secrets can be found out here. Even with all the natural protection the vortex provides, outlaws will still be outlaws though, and you can expect to see them around a lot of warp gates and trade lanes. By the time you've reached this sector, you should have found a couple playful and easy to use synergies to really capitalize on the moment. These outlaws thought they had me outnumbered, but a quick use of the Annihilator virus evens the playing field in a heartbeat. Scattered across its vast storm, Zarkov holds reclusive sites that have remained long since dormant. veteran pilots of Everspace 1 may recognize this territory to be quite ancient. All these fancy visuals are not just for show. If you venture into the storm, you will get burned. This mighty colonial warship is one of its many victims that it has swallowed. These lightning rods wreak havoc against your ship's systems, leaving you vulnerable for attack, or simply on a collision course to the other asteroids nearby. You may run into opposing scavengers with really strong armor or powerful shielding, but you can bypass that entirely with the corrosion missile. This stackable corrosive effect eats away at the hull until there is simply nothing left to hold the target's frame together, and it just falls apart at the seams. This entire sector is a gold mine for anyone into pilfering, but there's a lot more going on in this system that we haven't quite gotten to yet. It won't be much longer until we pull back that veil and reveal a slew of new opportunities for you in Everspace 2. Hey, thanks for joining me in this little teaser of the Zarkov system. I've got to swing on out of here, but I'm sure we'll be talking about more Everspace 2 real soon. Toodles!
Danger zone.